Day 56, the White Night Riots. When Harvey Milk's assassin, the man who murdered Harvey Milk in cold blood, Dan White, when he was essentially not acquitted, he served something like 3 to 5 years in prison for killing, let's put Harvey to the side again, the first openly gay elected official in North America, not the first one to run for office, but also Mayor Moscone, the sitting mayor of a major city. Okay, just like I tell people on my tours, folks, George Moscone was straight, to my knowledge. There's no indication that shows he was queer, but dead is dead. So homophobia affects everyone. Anyway, when the gay community in San Francisco received news of the light sentence that was handed down by an all-white, all-male Roman Catholic jury, they were pissed. They were pissed off. And the fact that this happened the day before Harvey Milk's birthday really just added insult to injury. So, from what I was told, and I have interviewed 3 different people who were there that night, and I also have to add how special that is because of how much of the gay community in San Francisco specifically was wiped out during the AIDS epidemic. So the fact that I've spoken to people who were there at the White Night Riots, which I'm getting ready to describe, is again, incredibly special. I consider myself to be incredibly privileged to be able to hear this and share this information. But what I was told is that the crowd was already pissed off. The crowd was already, tense. I don't know, a few hundred gay guys, pissed off gay guys met at what is now known as Harvey Milk Plaza. So where the Soul Cycle is, Market and Castro, that's where they met up. And again, I'm summarizing for the purposes of this clip. Come and take my tour. But they started to round the block a couple times. They started to march to City Hall. By the time they got there, about 1,000, 1,500 deep. This video is probably going to get censored, but I'm not going to censor myself because the gays fucked shit up. They burned a police car. They burned a newspaper stand. They bashed in windows. They were pissed and they were furious. And then Mayor Dianne Feinstein gathered the police department and she said, "Do not touch these men. Don't you dare lay a single finger on any of these men. The entire world is watching. This community is hurting. Leave them alone." So you know what those bastards did? They taped over their badges. They waited a few hours, and then they drove into the Castro, specifically the corner of 18th and Castro. Elephant Walk was the name of the bar at the time, but it's been Harvey's. That restaurant, that location right there, I think is cursed. But anyway, they got out of their cars and they started to beat up every gay guy they could get their hands on, bashing in all the windows up and down the strip and doing what policemen do best, brutalizing innocent citizens. And anyway, I don't want to ruin my tour for you. So that's where I will end this story. But the last thing I'm going to add is that the reason why it became known as the White Night Riots is because they happened at nighttime, because policemen do not have spines. And the policemen's uniforms at the time were white. They wore white uniforms. So that's why it became known as the White Night